All right, hello. I'm Kathy Meyerly, a member of the League of Women Voters Rochester. I'd like to welcome all of you tonight, the candidates, the in-person and online audience, and those viewing at a later time. This forum is sponsored by the League of Women Voters Rochester and our generous partners for tonight's forum, the Rochester Post-Bulletin, the Rochester Area Chamber of Commerce, and the Rochester Public Library, who have been very helpful for this. The League of Women Voters is a volunteer organization organized at the local, state, and national level to encourage citizens to participate in government. While we as a league do study and take stands on issues, we never endorse or oppose political parties or candidates. The views expressed in this forum are those of the candidates, not those of League of Women Voters Rochester or any sponsor or partner of this forum. And the sponsorship of this forum does not indicate endorsement of any candidate. It's our purpose in sponsoring this forum to provide you with an opportunity to hear candidates discuss face-to-face issues that are important to you. Tonight's questions have come from the League of Women Voters, the Post-Bulletin, the Chamber of Commerce, and members of our audience. You are welcome to submit as many written questions for the candidates as you like. Just hold up the cards as you finish them, and a league volunteer will collect them and bring them up to me for further questioning. If you are watching this, the live stream, you may email questions to League of Women Voters Rochester at lwvmn.org. Tonight's volunteers who are managing the questions are also League volunteers. Questions that are unclear, hostile, or of a personal nature will not be used. Given our format, your questions must relate to both candidates. Questions that fall in the same general area or which have been addressed in opening statements may be consolidated to allow us to cover as many topics as possible in the time allotted. We appreciate questions that are forward-looking rather than a review of past issues. If the answer was unclear to you, feel free to submit a follow-up question or to ask the candidate after the forum. Cards become the property of the League of Women Voters of Rochester. As there's never enough time to cover all the issues, and in this setting, please feel free to contact the candidate's campaign headquarters or website directly if your questions are not addressed tonight. We would like to thank the candidates for running for office, for offering to serve your community, and for the enormous amount of time, dedication, and commitment it takes that running and serving demand. We encourage our members as individuals as we encourage everybody to get involved in your community and the political party of your choice. Candidates tonight are for Olmsted County District 5, and they are Michelle Rossman on your right and Catherine Davis on your left. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to offer an opening statement. The candidates will then respond in turn to questions provided by League of Women Voters Rochester and this evening's partners and by the audience. Candidates will have 75 seconds to answer. And then candidates will have 2 minutes to make a closing statement. Candidates will keep their answers as succinct as possible. It isn't necessary to use the entire time that you have been allotted, and we want to cover as many questions as possible. Each candidate also has 3 30-second rebuttal cards that they can use after both candidates have had an opportunity to answer the question. Only 1 rebuttal card can be used per question, and please put the card in the basket after you have used it. I would like to remind the audience to remain quiet during the forum, hold your applause until the end of the forum, and to turn off all electronic devices. The timekeepers tonight are League of Women Voter Rochester members Heather Rose and Lynn Reavers, and questions will be screened and reviewed by Kathy Magerline and Amy Cockett. Asking questions from the Post-Bulletin is Randy Peterson, and from the Chamber of Commerce is Ryan Parsons. We will begin with candidate Davis as the opening statement. Please go ahead.
Hello, I'm Catherine Davis, and I'm running for Olmsted County Commissioner District 5 because I believe in healthy communities through supporting affordable housing initiatives that provide options for citizens at all stages of life, for assuring assistance for our residents, children, elderly, veterans, and differently abled so all can live their best life, and through the implementation of the recommendations of the Joint Study on Racism as a Public Health Issue. I'm running for Olmsted County Commissioner District 5 because I believe in civic engagement. We must build on current opportunities for our diverse community members to engage in local government. And involvement must happen early in the process so we can co-create recommendations, programs, and policies that integrate the voices of those with both lived and learned experiences. I'm running for Olmsted County Commissioner District 5 because I believe in effective and efficient government. Olmsted County has a philosophy of continuous improvement. I will work with county staff and community members to identify opportunities to streamline processes to assure us the highest delivery of services. I want to use both data, statistics, and people's experiences to determine how to invest in programs that break cycles, such as substance abuse, being unsheltered, and how to reduce the impact of the benefits cliff so residents don't have to choose between receiving needed services and engaging in opportunities for personal career and financial growth. As I've been out and about this campaign season, I've listened to our residents talk about the issues. I want to take my knowledge, my skills, and my experience as a community volunteer, a business person, and an educator to work towards programs and policies that benefit our citizens. I'm ready to represent District 5 by looking at the issues with a fresh perspective, being approachable and accessible, and elevating voices. And I look forward to sharing more about my platform and experiences in this forum.
Thank you. Thank you. Candidate Rossman, your opening statement, please.
I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters, the Post Bulletin, the Chamber, and the Library for hosting this evening's event. Good evening. My name is Michelle Rossman, and I am really excited about the opportunity to serve as an Olmsted County Commissioner. I've been a resident of Olmsted County for 18 years. In that time, I have immersed myself in many community organizations, including Aldridge Memorial Nursery School, Byron Public Schools, 4-H, FFA, the Olmsted County Extension Committee, and currently serving as a member of the Governor's Task Force on Food Safety and Security. I'm also a wife and mother. My husband and I are raising our family here in Olmsted County, and we are building a family business. As a small business owner, I have built a skill set in budget management, being fiscally responsible, making hard choices about how to use the finite resources that I have available to myself, and ensuring that our family legacy can continue through our business. Through my professional career, I have built a skill set of strategic organizational leadership. I manage multi-million-dollar budgets in managing safety research and environmental sustainability projects in agriculture. All of these skills and experiences give me a tremendous foundation to represent and be a voice for the constituents of District 5 as an Olmsted County Commissioner. I really appreciate the opportunity tonight to answer some questions so that you can make informed decisions as voters and ensure that even if you're not a resident of District 5, you understand the skill set that I bring to the table and can again make an informed decision on November 8th. Thank you.
Thank you. And Candidate Rossman, you will go first in response to this question from the League. As a county commissioner, what measures, if any, would you support to reinforce or ensure voter confidence in our elections?
Well, we have very strong processes and procedures in place here in Olmsted County to ensure that all of our voters have access to the facilities to vote, have opportunities to vote right now as absentee ballots, and cast the vote for their candidate. I would continue to support needed resources if staff tell us that they need some more funding for additional staff or facilities to ensure that all of our citizens absolutely have free and open access to cast their vote in elections. I would absolutely support those measures and would be welcome to those discussions in the future.
Thank you. And Candidate Davis, your response.
Thank you. I've been watching the Olmsted County board meetings, and I know that there's a group of citizens that's very concerned about this and concerned about voter confidence. I would say that I am very confident in the election integrity. I think as county commissioner, we have an opportunity to continue to talk and to share and to reinforce the message about, number one, how does voter integrity happen? How is the county following state statutes, and really be a voice to educate for folks. As Commissioner, too, I would continue to support all of the efforts to make sure that we continue to have free and fair elections.
Thank you. The next question comes from our online audience, and Candidate Davis, you will respond first. It relates to the environment and agriculture. Olmsted County recently piloted a soil health program using $3 million of American Rescue Plan Act dollars. This program is designed to both keep topsoil on farms and protect ground and surface waters. It incentivizes farmers to use cover crop and move more acreage into grassland for haying and grazing. Will you support continuation of programs like this to help our environment?
Absolutely. I think it's really important for us to be looking at what are the various ways that we can both support our small businesses, our family farms, our producers, as well as protect the environment. I happen to own land in a different county, and so I'm familiar with a lot of the things that we are doing. So yes, to cover crops, yes to rotating crops, yes to looking at doing small grains, in all of that, as well as in encouraging more moving into hay and to grazing land.
Okay, thank you. And Candidate Rossman, your response.
My entire life has been a learning journey as a steward of the natural resources that are available to me as a farmer. My husband and I are currently instilling those same values and learnings to our sons who are fourth generation on our farm. We are actively learning more about practices such as cover crops, and we are participating in the project that was just referenced in this question. We must continue as farmers to be good stewards of the natural resources that we work with every day and ensure that we're working with nature to provide a safe and wholesome food supply for our consumers around the world, and continually learn more about the technologies and practices that we can implement on our land. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question will come from the Post Bulletin, and Candidate Rossman, you will respond first.
Development pressure continues to build in rural areas surrounding Rochester, as well as other Olmsted County cities. What do you see as the county's role in addressing the conflicts that can arise between existing residents and developers?
Well, certainly with any situation, clear and open communication and transparency about what is happening in those areas will be key as we continue to ensure that we have solid relationships and are making our constituents and our citizens aware of the development that is happening, the plans that are in place. As a county, we certainly play a role in working with our outlying townships and towns to ensure that we have a good relationship with them and understand the strategic plans that we both have, so that we are doing a good job in working with all of the parties involved, the citizens, the developers, to ensure that we're making good long-term decisions for our county and all of those townships and towns. Communication really is the key to so many things in building relationships and ensuring that we can all work better together and build a great future for Olmsted County.
Thank you. Candidate Davis, your response.
Could you repeat the question again?
Development pressure continues to build in rural areas surrounding Rochester, as well as other Olmsted County cities. What do you see as the county's role in addressing conflicts that can arise between existing residents and developers?
Thank you. I think it's very, very important for us as the county to maintain good relationships with the township, that we are in partnership with them in order to maintain that communication. I think we have a responsibility to be working with developers to assure they are following the land use plan, and that we are being very intentional about how development is happening. As far as mediating conflicts, I think that, again, that goes back to how are we being transparent, how are we encouraging and making people aware of the various opportunities to enter into discussions with the developers, with the county, with the townships, to make sure that we are looking and understanding what are the needs of each of the parties and helping to come to the best solution that works for everyone.
Thank you. The chamber will ask the next question, but I remembered that I forgot to make a comment. The library is going to be closing, so you may hear a public address announcement. We don't have to be out, but they will clear everybody else out. Ryan, would you go ahead, please?
Good evening, candidates. Many factors contribute to a positive environment for business, including infrastructure, workforce, tax policy, quality of life. So with all of that in mind, if elected as an Olmsted County Commissioner, how would you work to ensure that Olmsted County is a positive environment for business?
And candidate Davis, you'll respond first.
I think there is a lot of things that go into a positive environment. I think it starts with creating a welcoming and inclusive environment where people feel like they are able to enter in, they're able to work here, they're able to thrive here. I hear many stories of people who move here and then once they are here, do not feel welcomed and do not feel like they have a place. So that's number one. We need to do that. We need to make sure that we are supporting as much as possible infrastructure that that creates opportunity for new businesses to grow, and that we are doing so in a sustainable manner. I think we have an opportunity as a county to work in tandem also with local towns and local cities to assure that we are working together to create a place where all of us want to work and to live.
Candidate Rossman, your response.
There are many variables that need to be in place to create a favorable business environment in our county. One of them being transparency in all of the policies, the regulations, the things that businesses need to do to actually operate in our county. So it's really important to have that transparency with all those permitting and regulations, et cetera. Small businesses are really important to a thriving community. How are we supporting small family businesses and not just larger corporations? Do we have the one-on-one assistance that some of those businesses need to thrive? Have we thought about how we're using those resources? Public safety is absolutely a variable that's really important to our small businesses. Just this week we saw a couple announcements of restaurants closing in downtown Rochester due to traffic changes and shifts we're seeing. Does any of that have to do with public safety and how our citizens feel about being downtown? Those are all things that we need to take into account. And clearly infrastructure, having a positive business environment, we must have access to our businesses and really good public infrastructure to ensure that those businesses can operate as needed and thrive in our county.
Thank you. The next question comes from the audience, and candidate Rossman, you will go first. The Olmsted County Board recently accepted a report on racism and public health in our community. How would you implement equitable practices?
When reading that report, first of all, I have to say it was such a tremendous labor of love for the volunteers who took 2 years to put all that information together, and really appreciate the due diligence and thoughtful report that they put together. There are extensive recommendations in that report. The BIPOC community must be recognized in many different ways. We need to ensure that they are represented in all of our community organizations, staffing at many levels, ensuring that we are giving them a voice in conversations that affect our communities. as with any population, ensuring that they have a voice and support for financial health as families, and have support through all of our public services. As with all of our citizens, they need to know that they are welcome in all of those conversations and to be a part of the decisions that are being made that affect this county. So really look forward to, after being elected, having those conversations and putting that extensive plan in place, because from that report, it sounds like we do have a lot of work to do, but there's a plan now in place and we have a foundation to build from.
Thank you. Candidate Davis, your response.
This was such an important step that Olmsted County took. It's one of 2 counties that took the step to declare racism as a public health issue, and recognizes that systemically we have some things that we need to fix. In order to make this an equitable process, I agree that we need to be including the people with the lived and learned experience in the co-creation of how we are going to implement the recommendations. It is that the people that are closest to and receive those services and are recipients of what is happening are the ones that are going to be able to provide us with the best ideas. The county has already decided that many of the recommendations are going to be moving into those different committees, which I think is fantastic. I think the accountability comes in with the measurements and how we are identifying what those measures are to assure that what we intend to do and what is actually implemented has the impact that we are hoping that it has. I'm in full support of this, and I look forward to, as county commissioner, being to help implement those recommendations.
Thank you. Is there a rebuttal from either candidate? No. The next question, we'll have candidate Davis responding first. It's also from our online audience. It relates to the library. If elected, would you support the part-time social worker position at the Rochester Public Library?
You know, the library is certainly a gem in our county, providing a safe and welcoming environment and a place where people feel like they can come and achieve and get help. The addition of the social worker here, I know, has been a great success in being able to provide support and services to individuals who come here looking for information. I think as we look at any sort of budgetary decision, we need to be looking at this within what are the priorities. If we would fund this, what other things would we not fund? I'm a firm believer that we do need to make it a priority to fund this position because it has proven to be so effective in serving our residents.
Thank you. Candidate Rossman.
The Rochester Public Library is such a tremendous resource that we have in our community. I've spent many hours here with our sons as they learn to and developed a love for reading. I am not privy to or have not seen the metrics that are being proposed to support the part-time social worker. As with every investment we make, we must understand the ask behind the program, understand the need for that investment. If that data and the community need is showing us that a part-time social worker will have an impact here at the public library, that is something that we would have to take into account as we look at the funding that is available to support various programs, et cetera. But again, as with anything, we need to be measuring impact and we need to be using some data to make these decisions. And I would look forward to understanding that a bit more as we move into post-election.
Thank you. The next question comes from the League of Women Voters, and candidate Rossman, you'll respond first. What strategies would you support to address the homeless issue?
We have many support systems in place already in Olmsted County to support our homeless. This is another issue, though, that as with other things that we're dealing with in Olmsted County, there is more infrastructure that is needed to truly support the need in the county. As we look at the various programs that are in place, again, I would want to look at the impact that we're having, understand that need, understand the information behind it and the data that's supporting that ask for more infrastructure. We need to also be looking at the foundational issues that are causing that homelessness, and how can we help all of our citizens who are experiencing homelessness right now, how can we support them for long-term success and to become self-supporting and support themselves in a manner that they are not homeless anymore. So that is a very broad and diverse issue that I look forward to learning more about to ensure that our citizens are all supported in Olmsted County.
Thank you. And Candidate Davis, your response.
You know, we have a large number of unsheltered and undersheltered individuals that live in Olmsted County, and the county has done some incredible things to help relieve that stress and that pressure on folks through the warming shelter, which is now opened all year round, to partnering with different organizations, trying to move people as quickly as possible into transitional housing to be able to provide those services. And I would support continuing all of those and even expanding what we can do with some of the partnerships. There's a number of nonprofit organizations that I know the county does currently support. Could we expand that? And so that this becomes a shared solution for our community. As always, I think whatever we can do to try to do as much as we can with our funding to provide supports for mental health, for food, for health in general, to help alleviate some of the pressures, I think would be fantastic.
Thank you. The next question will come from the Post Bulletin, and Candidate Davis, you'll respond first.
District 5 includes a portion of Rochester, the rural areas to the west, and the city of Byron. How will you work to represent the diverse opinions and needs within the district?
I love this question. I think that's what's really exciting about this district is that it has Rochester, it has rural, and it has the city of Byron. A couple of things that I see myself doing is really making myself available. And by saying that, I mean by going to township meetings, going to city council meetings, to going to events, to make sure that I am just there and visible, introducing myself, making sure I'm asking what are on people's minds, what are their concerns, all of that. I'm already doing that as a candidate, getting out and really trying to learn and to understand. I think there's always the power of social media and making sure that you're using that and you're doing a lot with engagement with your constituents. And as far as understanding, I'm a huge believer in listening and seeking out the lived experiences of everyone, and that includes those living in the rural areas, those living in Byron, and those living in Rochester.
Thank you. And Candidate Rossman.
District 5 is a very diverse district. We have rural populations and clearly some strong population centers on the northwest side of town. When we bring diverse groups like that together, clearly communication and transparency is going to be really important. I am fortunate in that my professional capacity, I work with a lot of very diverse groups in working to bring them together on issues, align around common goals, and meet the needs of all of those who are engaged in the process. Clearly, listening to my constituency in District 5 is going to be essential to understand their needs and bring their voice to the county board and county government discussion. The rural voice, the population centers closer to Rochester, and ensure that, again, through finite resources, we are doing our best to meet the needs and support all of our citizens in Olmsted County. But this absolutely will be a learning journey, and I very much look forward to continuing my interaction with the fellow residents of District 5 to understand their needs and bring those as a voice to county government.
Thank you. And Candidate Rossman, you'll respond first to the next question from the Chamber of Commerce.
When thinking of a more long-term strategy, what do you view as a challenge or opportunity for Olmsted County in the next 5 years?
One challenge that, or opportunity that has come to my attention in conversations with county staff, current commissioners, and with citizens is an opportunity to strengthen the relationship between the city of Rochester and and Olmsted County. As all of our resources become tighter, we must do a better job of being strategic and thinking strategically together, thinking long-term together, doing a better job of being effective and working together and building our relationships so that we're not working in silos and we're working together to better our community, the city of Rochester, and the county. So I certainly would love to understand and brainstorm on some ways that we can strengthen that relationship and continue to think about how over the next 10 years we can do a better job of being better partners for all of our citizens.
Thank you. And Candidate Davis, your response.
So as far as long-term challenges, opportunities, strategy, I mean, I think we have an opportunity as government to continue to innovate and to see how agile we can become, which I think as a government, that can be very hard to do. But I think in order to be able to be responsive to the needs of our individuals and we're investing in programs that really create success for people, we need to be doing that. I think there's an opportunity for us to continue to develop relationships not only with the city of Rochester, but really with our outlying communities and townships as well, to continue to grow those, and so that we are able to work together to identify what are the needs of our citizens and how to best meet that. Challenges, I think, are a lot with a lot of people funding challenges. I mean, if we have to implement a strategy, we have to be able to do that. So how do we do that with the finite resources that we have? How are we assuring that we have the best staff available as well? Worker force shortage is hitting everybody. And that also provides an opportunity for us, though, to think about how do we attract the best people and keep them here in Olmsted County.
Thank you. And Candidate Davis, you'll go first in responding to a question from our online audience relating to the budget and taxation. The question is, what are enterprise funds and why are they important to Olmsted County?
What are enterprise funds and why are they important to Olmsted County? What a great question. I hope I can come up with a great answer. No, I'm kidding. I think that, enterprise funds are one of those things that I will be very honest, are something that I have an opportunity to learn more about. I think as county commissioner, I look forward to learning about all the ways that we are funding our services, and how budgets are both developed and how do we fund those. And so I am a student first and foremost and look forward to that opportunity.
Thank you. And Candidate Rossman, your response.
This continues to be a learning journey, and I appreciate questions like that because I am not a student or well-versed in the use of enterprise funds in our county. Clearly, we must continue to get creative about all the different ways that we're funding all of the demands on our county budget. There are always more asks than we have budget for and finances for. I will tonight be studying about enterprise funds as I continue to fully immerse myself in the workings of county government and want to understand all of the ways that we're funding programs in the county. So thank you to whoever asked that question, and be happy to answer that as a follow-up on one of my social media platforms.
Thank you. Candidate Rossman, you'll go first in responding to a question from the League. What projects would you, as a county commissioner, hope for in a state bonding bill?
For those that live in District 5, the intersection at 104 and County 14 would need to be at the top of the list, and public infrastructure is really important. As for anyone, if you've been out in District 5 lately, there's tremendous growth on our side of town, and there's a lot of infrastructure changes that are happening there. But that intersection is one that needs attention. It needs a long-term, substantial fix. not some of the shorter term things that are happening right now with that intersection. It is really important that all of the people who are traveling Highway 14 every day are safe coming to and from the city of Rochester, and the thousands of our citizens that travel and go through that intersection. So absolutely would be advocating for continued support for public infrastructure to continually enhance that in Olmsted County.
And Candidate Davis, your response.
So there's a couple of things. I would agree with candidate Rossman that interchange at County 44 and Highway 14 would be great to be able to address that. I think the materials recovery facility is another one that I would like to see happen with the bonding bill. It's just another way that we can create sustainable practices within the county. I think residential and long-term care is something that also is very important with the bonding bill, to assure that we are providing our most vulnerable individuals with the care that they need, and that our caregivers are actually provided with a livable wage, that we're able to keep people with that. Transportation beyond the Highway 14 to make sure that we are keeping our bridges safe, or replacing the ones that need to be replaced, as well as repairing the ones that need to happen. And of course, any funding that we can have for emergency shelters, again, to support our unsheltered here in the community, I think would be extremely important, and I would love to see in the bonding bill.
Thank you. And our last question, Candidate Davis, you'll respond first. Many states' social services programs are the responsibility of counties in Minnesota. How do you think Olmsted County is performing, and do you have ideas for improvements?
I think that Olmsted County does a phenomenal job in implementing and doing the services that the state has mandated for us. I think, as always, I think that we can be looking to improve our services through really looking at how we're measuring the effectiveness, we're measuring how people are coming into the system, how people being given equitable access, and those are things that are really important to me. I believe that since the majority of the budget for Olmsted County is in health and human services, that we need to continue to be at the forefront and to be a leader in the state in how we are supporting our individuals that need help.
Thank you. And Candidate Rossman, your response.
Social services are one of the largest budget items for us as a county, and many of them are state mandated, and that is another area where it seems like the need always outpaces the resources that we have. We must get creative about understanding and working with other groups who can help us to raise funds, provide funds, and work to provide the services that we need to be providing as a county. There are a lot of different funding sources that I think we can access and get creative about, as well as obviously continuing to advocate for and build those relationships with our state government, so that we understand what that ask is of us, but continually have support for those state mandated services. We certainly, those are critical services and needed greatly by many citizens in our county, and we must have a really good long-term strategic plan on how we'll continue to fund and support and provide those services.
Thank you very much. And that concludes our questions. We now go to our closing statements. And Candidate Rossman, please begin.
Well, I certainly appreciate everyone's kind attention here this evening, those of you in the room as well as those of you watching online. I hope that you've learned something tonight about myself, as well as my fellow candidate for Commissioner in District 5. When I think about some of the words that have been used to describe me, they include honest, committed, curious, a lifelong learner. I will tell you that I am committed to this county and doing what I can to apply my skills, my experiences, and my learnings to be a great partner and voice in county government and ensure that I am listening to the constituents in District 5. I am bringing their needs and their wants and their voice to county government. I have many, many years of experience and skills that will provide a great foundation for me to manage budgets, listen to people, articulate their needs, and be their advocate in county government. If you are a resident of District 5, I would ask for your vote on November 8th. If you're not in my district, please make sure that you're asking great questions, you're educating yourself about the candidates that you have the opportunity to vote for, and that you make an informed decision on November 8th. To learn more about me, please visit my website, Rossman for olmstedcommissioner.com, and I'd be happy to answer any additional questions you have after tonight's forum. Thank you.
Thank you. And candidate Davis, your closing statement.
I want to thank everyone, the sponsors, the volunteers, the audience, both virtual and here in person, and those who submitted questions for this great forum tonight. And I thank candidate Rossman for running as well. I believe it's so important for voters to have choices in elections. I also want to acknowledge that we are here today on Indigenous Peoples Day, a day when we recognize how policies have systematically sought to assimilate and displace Native people and eradicate Native cultures. This reminds us of the weight of what it means to hold political office and the decisions that we make and how they impact people. I'm a 30-year-plus resident of Olmsted County, and I've been actively involved in our community. My volunteer work is broad, including organizations in public, private, and nonprofit sectors. I've shared spaces with communities across multiple diversity dimensions as both an advocate and an ally. My experiences in the Chamber of Commerce's Leadership Greater Rochester program and as a co-facilitator of a community leadership on collaboration have led to my belief in the power of partnerships and that people working together can achieve shared goals. In addition, to move our county forward, every voice needs to be heard, every person needs to be represented, and every person needs to be seen. I've worked in multiple sectors: business, education, and nonprofit. I hold master's degrees in organizational management and a master's in business administration. My lived and learned experiences has taught me to make informed decisions based on analyzing data, seeking multiple perspectives, and doing my own research. Your vote in this election determines who will lead Olmsted County in 2023 and beyond. I'm ready to work for you and with you, citizens of Olmsted County. I will bring my ability to listen and learn, as well as my experience and knowledge, to my role as Olmsted County Commissioner. This election, I'm asking you to vote Catherine Davis for Olmsted County Commissioner, District 5.
Thank you, candidates, for participating in tonight's forum, and thank you for your service to the community and your willingness to participate in the democratic process by running for office. I would like to remind everybody that the views expressed in the forum tonight were those of the candidates and not those of League of Women Voters Rochester or any partner or sponsor of the forum. Thank you to our partners, the Rochester Area Chamber of Commerce, the Rochester Post-Bulletin, and the Rochester Public Library. As has already been said, Election Day is November 8th, but early voting is already taking place. If you vote by absentee ballot and would like to change your ballot, visit mnvotes.org for more information on that process. Remember to vote. If you have a question about your polling place, or you would like to see a sample ballot or learn more about the candidates, visit vote411.org. To see this forum again, access it at the League of Women Voters or the Rochester Public Library websites. And as a reminder, since the library and the League have posted the complete unedited recording of tonight's forum, no editing of any other image of this forum is authorized. Editing is authorized only for an official media reporting. Excerpts or edited clips of this forum may not be posted on candidate websites or used in social media for political purposes. Links to the League of Women Voters or library recordings, however, are most welcome on your websites. Thank you, everybody, and have a good night.